Tom, I know there's been a lot of activity recently with the experiments that you've designed, the variations of the double slit experiment that are being conducted at a couple of universities. Well, tell me, for the audience and for CUSAC, what are the latest details on that?
Okay. Uh, the latest is that we have been promised that within a month, we will have the answer to the first problem. Now, actually, we were told that we'd have it by now, but as these things happen, they take a little longer and things don't quite work right. And, the real world is always a lot messier than the theoretical world. So we were supposed to have it by now. So that's probably why I wasn't giving an update. I kept thinking that I'm going to have the answer just very shortly, but it turns out that it's going to probably have it within, by the end of this month. At least that's what the experimenters say. They're very confident. Everything is working perfectly. All the equipment's working. And we're going to set up this experiment on a open source website. Now, by open source, that means anybody can look at it, anybody can download it, anybody can use the material. And we are going to detail everything that happens. So we're going to look at each step. We've taken just this one experiment and we've broken it into a series of steps. The first thing you do is this, then you add this, then the next thing, is this. And we're going to go through every one of those steps. We're going to look at the equipment, the brand, how much it costs, everything is going to be there, along with the math to describe it. But math is not necessary. We are trying to make this so that it is perfectly understandable to just anybody who can think logically, can follow a logic stream. And it's not all that hard to follow. So the first beginnings of this website are taking place. We got some rough data up there now, but give us another month, and I hope we will have an answer. Now, maybe it'll take us a month after that before we get the website and all the pretty pictures, and we hope for some animations and a couple of other things to make it more understandable. So it may take a little while before we can put that all together and make it pretty. But hopefully within a month, I'll have an answer to that very first problem. And that very first problem is the one where we pull we pull the plug on the recorder that records the which way data. And by just pulling the plug on the recorder to where it's not recording anymore, that makes a difference. That destroys the which way data. And with the which way data destroyed, we end up with an interference pattern. And physics now says that won't happen. That information, though it's been destroyed from our view, it still exists entangled either in the slits or in someplace else in the world, and the information still exists. And I think, no, that's not the way it works. So we're going to find out just soon now. So
Wow.
that's the good news. It's being done in a both places now are working. And the second place, I can't tell you about where it is. That's part of the contract I have with them, is that I would not mention them at all, because the C word just scares them to death. They do not want to be associated with anything that has to do with consciousness, because that's not objective and therefore not science.
Oh.
So for them to be associated with not science is a black mark on their reputation. So I had to sign a very specific contract about that. And anyway, we are going to get the answer. And that's why it's going up on this website where everybody can look at it. Their name will not be on it,
Okay.
unless, of course, they change their mind. And if it turns out that I'm right, I'm sure they will change their mind, and they will want to claim credit for being the ones that did that experiment. But
Well, this is
anyhow,
exciting indeed.
yeah, it's
This is
exciting. So it's
really
coming.
exciting.
Yeah, we've been going round and round and round, and it's really not that easy an experiment to do.
There are a lot of challenges
it
besides.
sounds easy, but it's just not that easy to do.
Yeah.
And even these folks who have done similar kinds of experiments many, many times, so they're good at it. They have little issues here and there when it comes to getting the answers, and we're making them do more than they would have done just to do the experiment, because we're making them go through all the various steps, taking videos.
Yeah.
Um,
I love the transparency
yeah,
of it, which
yeah,
is, of course, very important to
yeah,
CUSAC.
right. So it's coming, folks. Very soon it's coming, and where you can find out
Okay.
about it is on cusac.org. And I think that's all you have to put on your browser is just
Yeah.
cusac.org, and you will get that.
Thank you very much. This is really exciting, and stay tuned.